Hello everyone, I am Pragya Srivastav. I am here to record a lecture on KEC 053 VLSI technology, and in my previous lecture we were discussing unit 3 and the topic which we were discussing in the last lecture was lithography. So in today's lecture we will be completing the already discussed topic, which is lithography. We have studied the basics in the previous one and we have also studied the steps. So to review, just I am taking up again the steps. So we have studied what is surface cleaning. For surface cleaning, we were studying that how the tough stains and spots from the surface of a wafer can be removed before you enter into lithography. Then we coat a chemical, we coat a photosensitive chemical, that is photoresist. We have done soft baking. So we were on the process of soft baking in my last lecture. So soft baking can be done using two steps. The first is using a convection oven and the second is using a hot plate. So convection oven takes a time takes around about 20 minutes at a temperature of 90 to 100 degrees Celsius, whereas a hot plate takes a longer amount of time, slightly longer, and it takes for like 45 minutes and it takes a temperature of 75 to 85 degrees Celsius. So microwave heating and IR lamps are also used. So why are we doing this soft baking? What is the actual purpose? We can see here. Let's imagine that this is a photoresist. Okay, it's written. It is a photoresist layer. So photoresist layer will be photoresist will be a liquid, will be in liquid form, which we are pouring onto the substrate or wafer, and we call it spin coating. Then when we are doing this soft baking process, we are actually trying to evaporate the solvents. So solvents which are present here will be evaporated, and here we will get a surface of photoresist which is more strongly adhered to the wafer. We can see that once this solvent, this coating solvent is removed off, we will get a comparatively firm layer onto the wafer. So here we can see a hot plate chunk is there. The wafer is kept on a hot plate. So this hot plate will be having the heaters inside it, which will raise the temperature. Now the next step is mask alignment. We are now on the step number this mask alignment. Mask alignment and exposure transfers the mask image to the resist coated wafer. It activates photosensitive components of photoresist. There are three types of masking: contact printing, proximity printing and projection printing. So what is the purpose of mask aligning? Let us imagine a case where we are not aligning the position of mask. In that particular case, let's say this is a wafer and the requirement to form a end well is here. That is a place where we need a end well. Okay, so if we need in this case we need a mask which should have a opaque portion here. So let's say the mask alignment is improper and the opaque portion is here. So instead of getting a end well here, we will get the end well here, and you very well know that we would require an end well here. So it has completely changed the pattern. Okay, so now here we are getting the blue well, not the red well, so which is not correct, which is not desired. So mask alignment is very much necessary in this case. So position of mask, that is called positioning the reticle. Okay, positioning the reticle is nothing but mask alignment. So how we can place the mask? We have three options. First is contact printing, second is proximity printing, and third is projection printing. Coming on to these. So contact, proximity and projection printing. Here we have to see, we have to notice that there is no space between the mask and the wafer. Of course, photoresist is also there. Here we can see that there is a certain space. This space is there. Okay. And so this is called contact printing. Means the wafer with photoresist is completely in contact with mask. Whereas here it is proximity printing. Proximity. They are in proximity. They are next to each other, but they are not in contact. Projection printing, we have seen in our diagram previously that there is a, optical system. There is optical imaging system, which is nothing but presence of some lens. So projection system uses an imaging optics in between the mask and the wafer. So what this presence of lens would do, the light which is entering into the system is first converging. We can see it's converging, and then it is diversifying itself. We can see the ray of light is first converging and then it's diverging. Okay, so this is how we can see the projection printer is working. So the three of them like operates in different modes. We can see certain features. Here we have two operating modes, contact for expose, and there we have it is separate for align. Here less wear on mask but poorer image than a contact aligner. So here the examples, okay, they are also listing some example like Caspar 17A. So here it is Caspar Cobalt, and here the example is Perkin-Elmer Micralign. Okay, so here we have certain examples of contact printing, proximity printing and projection printing. Contact printing is capable of high resolution but has unacceptable defect density, which may be used in development but not in manufacturing. So of course the resolution is high but it has the defect densities. Okay, so next coming on to is proximity printing. Proximity printing cannot easily print features below a few nanometer in line width, so used in nanotechnology. So we can see that below this nanoscale we cannot use because the level of resolution is very poor. So it has a very resolution capacity is very poor here. Okay, now the most famous and the most common is projection printing. It provides high resolution, so this is a key feature here. Low defect density, both the issues have been solved, and this is the reason which is why it is dominating today. So it takes 50 wafers per hour. So it takes 1 hour to print 50 wafers. Okay, next we can see for as of now we have been discussing photoresist and photoresist. Now we have to see that what this photoresist is capable of. What is the chemical nature of a photoresist, that we can classify it into two. First is positive photoresist and the other is negative photoresist. Okay, so the thing that the two of them are different is only this: after exposure, like exposure means exposure can be any. It can be with the help of optical system, it can be with the help of photons, and it can be with the help of UV exposure. So what happens with positive and negative photoresist? The exposed portion means the portion where the sunlight is able to reach the photoresist. Okay, so the exposed portion of photoresist sometimes becomes soluble, and whereas the exposed portion of photoresist sometimes becomes insoluble. So that is all we have to see what happens when. So first of all we will be able to see which portion is getting exposed? We can see that light is entering into this region. Okay, light is able to enter into this region. We have to very clearly see so that we are not getting confused later in the stages. Why? Because light is not able to enter the remaining portion, because here we have a mask. Here we have a mask. Okay. So this is a common picture. We can see that we have 3 patches of exposed regions. Okay. So just moving on to the next step. What is happening into the next step? I will explain. Moving on to the next step, what is happening here, that the exposed portion becomes insoluble. So that now after exposing, if we are washing, the exposed portion is insoluble, so it is retained. Okay, okay, it is retained. So we can see that the exposed or illuminated exposed becomes insoluble. Okay, so this exposed portion is this one. Okay, I should use the red ink for the exposed portion. Here is the exposed portion. Okay, it becomes hard so that it is insoluble. So after we have washed the complete setup, it is still there, it is insoluble. So we can say the exposed portion becomes hard and it becomes insoluble. So this is a feature of negative photoresist. A photoresist is called a negative photoresist if after exposure the exposed portion becomes insoluble. See, unexposed portion is ineffective. That portion has never faced the exposure of light. So that portion is ineffective. So that portion is not operating as such, not operating. Let us imagine that we have used a positive photoresist. In positive photoresist, we can see that this is a portion above which there was a mask. Okay, there was a mask in this portion. Okay, so mask, since there was a mask present, so yes, this side it has come. Since there was a mask present, so that portion becomes means it does not operate, and here is the exposed portion, because light has reached this portion. So when light has reached this portion, that particular patch has washed off, we can see that the exposed portion has become soluble. Exposed becomes soluble. Okay, so exposed portion becomes soluble. Now in this case, if you where can you make the well? We can make a well here, we can make a well here, we can make a well here. Here also we can make a well here, we can make a well here. So negative photoresist is the one where exposed portion becomes insoluble. Positive photoresist is the one where the exposed portion becomes soluble. Now we have to see, now after all this, after this development and all, can we go and start making anvil? Can we make anvil? No. Why? Because I have 2 unwanted things. First is, when I start adding impurities, when I start adding n-type semiconductor, this layer is troubling me. There is a layer here, this layer is troubling me. So I don't want this SiO2 layer, I want to remove it. For that I have to go for etching. Okay, so I will do specific etching so that this portion will go off. Okay, and I'll get this result. But After etching, do I still need this layer of photoresist? Answer to the question is no, I do not need this. So first step is to etch the silicon dioxide, and then is to strip the photoresist. You will achieve this diagram, and then likewise here you will achieve this diagram. So that was all about photoresist, studying specifically in case of positive photoresist and negative photoresist. Development. Soluble areas, now what we have studied, they are going to list it. Soluble areas of photoresist are dissolved by developer chemical. Visible pattern appear on wafer, and quality measures, line resolution, uniformity, particle and defects. Well, now next is hard baking. We have to see what is actually hard baking. So we have studied the process of soft baking also, but the soft baking helped us in providing the in removing the solvents of a photoresist. Now what is this hard baking helping us with? It is used to stabilize and harden the developed photoresist prior to processing steps that the resist will mask. So I repeat, hard baking is used to stabilize or harden the photoresist prior to processing steps that will resist that the resist will mask. Post bake removes any remaining traces of the coating solvent and developer. High temperature, it is a process which is being carried out at a higher temperature than soft bake. There the temperature was below 100, and here it is 120 to 150 degrees Celsius. So we can see that it's quite higher. Next is plasma etch or add layer. We have to see what all is happening. We can see from the starting, you see we were having a silicon layer. On that we had a SiO2 layer. Okay, so SiO2 layer, on the top of SiO2 layer you are coating with photoresist. This green color is this one, this green color is photoresist. Okay, so after photoresist you are using a reticle. This reticle is allowing this portion to get exposed. Okay, so if we can see, the exposed portion becomes soluble and it is washed off. So we can see that it is a specific case of when the exposed portion becomes soluble, it means it is a case of positive photoresist. So we can write down that this was a positive photoresist. Exposed portion is washed off. Now this was exposure. After developing, we have seen that the exposed portion has been washed off. Now to remove this unwanted layer of SiO2, we have performed etching. Okay, this etching will help us in removing the unwanted layer of SiO2. So here is the place where we can get, here we can create an N well. But now we see that we do not need this layer of photoresist, because we have created a space, we have created a well-defined boundary. Now since the boundary is created, we don't need this. So we have just, we will just strip the photoresist, and here is the required site for ion implantation. Now what is this ion implantation is the word which I am going to use just next to this step, photolithography and deposition. So ion implantation is a step where we are going to introduce the desired ions, implant the desired ions, so that we can very well create a N well, P well, whatever we want to create. So this is how the complete process of photolithography was. Now we are going to study post process cleaning. Now after all this we have done, we have a plasma etching with O2. So this is also called etching. Simple solvents are generally sufficient, but for non-post bake photoresist. Positive photoresist, at the place of positive photoresist we can use acetone or trichloroethane. When we want to have a negative photoresist, we can have a methyl ethyl, or we can have ketone methyl isobutyl ketone. So these are the examples of positive and negative photoresist. Now here comes the final inspection. In this final inspection, what are we going to do? We are just this photoresist has been completely removed or not. Next is pattern on wafer matches the mask pattern or not. So that is the case of positive photoresist. Now we have to see if we have noticed or not. We can see pattern on wafer is exactly as pattern on mask. We can see here is a pattern on mask where this portion was available, okay, and this regions were not available. So correspondingly this portion is available. We can see this portion is available and this is not available. So pattern of mask and pattern of the developed wafer should match. So that is positive photoresist, and hence the name. Yes, since the wafer and the pattern of mask is matching, so it is positive photoresist. Pattern of wafer matches the mask pattern in case of photoresist. So quality issues, we have to see, we have to check with all the defects, particles, step height and critical dimensions. So that is all about lithography. In the starting slides we have seen all the steps. We have gone through the final inspection. We have covered all the steps and we have studied what is actually lithography, photolithography. So in my next lecture we will start film deposition. That's all from my side on lithography. Thank you.